What's up YouTube, K.D.M Sports here, and what I'd like to share is my opinion on why I think Larry Holmes is the most underappreciated heavyweight champion in boxing history. I think a lot of that is due to the era in which Holmes fought in. Like many other athletes who were great, sometimes it's just the circumstances you're dealt with, and Larry, I believe, was a product of this, as well as saying controversial things like throwing shade at one of boxing's most famous champions of all time, Rocky Marciano, after his razor-close loss to Michael Spinks back in 1985. Holmes also put a beating on boxing's most famous star ever and former sparring partner, the greatest, Muhammad Ali, back in 1980, after he had won the title a year earlier in an absolute classic against Ken Norton, which a lot of fans were not pleased with. It ushered in a new era where Holmes just didn't have that charisma a lot of other great heavyweight champions had, as well as dominating an era that was not very strong talent-wise. Holmes' best wins were against an over-the-hill Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton, Ernie Shavers, Tim Witherspoon, Leon Spinks, Trevor Berbick, James Bonecrusher Smith, Alfredo Evangelista, and Jerry Cooney. As you can see, not really all-time great wins. Muhammad Ali was past it, and so was Norton and Shavers, as well as Holmes being a part of one of the most famous beatdowns in heavyweight history when he came out of retirement to face Mike Tyson and he got mollywopped. It's tough to be a great champion between two eras with the most famous athletes to have ever existed, Muhammad Ali and Iron Mike, as well as not being a part of a great talent pool era in the late 70s to mid 80s. So naturally, Holmes' accomplishments seem to get overlooked at times, even though you could argue Holmes is definitely a top 5 heavyweight ever, just based off accomplishments alone. Larry had arguably the most effective jab in boxing history. He exemplified what the fundamentals can do for you with the physical attributes, height, reach, good footwork, a long, fast, well-timed jab that snaps out there to frustrate opponents, and having good defense to ever so slightly move out of the way of punches. Also having an extremely high ring IQ, and that was shown during his comeback stint in the 90s. Holmes was a definition of longevity, and a lot of that was due to the fact of having the luxury of training alongside some of the greatest boxing champions in history at a young age, like Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali. Holmes' 1-2 combination was legendary, and he also had tremendous heart and a great chin. The saying time heals is true though, because in hindsight, when you look at what Holmes accomplished years later, you see how impressive his achievements were for someone who was not highly touted coming into the pros. Some of Holmes' great accomplishments was the fact that he is the third longest reigning heavyweight champion in history from 1978 to 1985. That's over 7 years, along with having 20 title defenses and being second only behind the Brown Bomber Joe Louis. This shows consistency, longevity, skills, and being dominant. To be able to have sustained a success for a period of time like this cannot and should not be overlooked, and as time goes by, Larry Holmes' accomplishments will surely be looked back on. There's no doubt Larry Holmes is one of the greatest of all time, and if you're a true fan of the sport, you definitely appreciate his greatness. Overall, Larry was just one of those athletes who was a product of his era, which is unfortunate because Larry was a genius and master technician in the ring. This is my opinion on the legendary Eastern assassin Larry Holmes, one of the greatest heavyweights who sadly doesn't get the credit he deserves. Thank you for watching another video of mine, and make sure to subscribe, like, share, and if you've got any opinions, leave it in the comment section below.